210 community website project, I decided to create an online community for the Unified Media Design Studio, and I ended up calling it the UMDS Network. Basically, the problem that I found was, if it'll go to the next slide, there it goes, was that a lot of the current designers within the Unified Media Design Studio aren't really showing a lot of passion or drive to do really good work and to put out some really solid designs and to work with all the different people from across grade levels and everything like that. We were noticing a lot of this because we had seen sort of like how like I interact with some of the designers, like our art directors and some of the other editors, and then how previous staffs would, or people who used to be on staff before we like actually became Unified Media Design Studio, said that how like the chief designers at the DN were like really passionate about what they wanted to do, and they were really, really, really good friends with everyone they worked with. And even if they weren't like really good friends, they still were able to like be really friendly with everyone and be like really open and excited to like meet new people and like just things like that. Like there was more of like a family environment. And then this year came along, and the designers that are a part of the studio, they're really cool people, but a lot of the times there was only a handful of students we saw who were a part of the staff that really were showing good and like really great passion and drive to be a good designer and to be a good visual journalist. And there were people just didn't like really, they came to work, they showed up, they did what they were supposed to do. They didn't ask really for help unless they absolutely needed it, and they left. They showed up, did what they needed to do, and left. And then the other thing we noticed is that a lot of the stuff they were putting out was just like they did the work, but they didn't like really put a lot of effort into it. So basically, the problem from looking at all of that, the problems I found within our staff was that they don't really show passion or drive, and that they're not trying to like pull inspiration from anywhere, whether that's from like going on Pinterest and looking up like design trends, or going on News Page Designer and seeing like top news pages, or at the museum, stuff like that. So basically, to try and solve the problem, I started looking at other, like, what networks I use to find inspiration for design, and I kind of started drawing ideas from there to figure out what would be a good way to put all of these, like, ideas together, because, like, Pinterest has its, like, on Pinterest you can create boards of, like, certain, like, of types of like design that you want to pin and stuff like that. You can create groups on Facebook, or you can talk to people directly on Facebook, stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to create an area where it's really not, it's not so much centered around critique, which this can totally be offered, but it's more so centered around what makes you do what you want to do as a designer, and why, and where you find your inspiration, what kind of things you want to aspire to design and stuff like that. So this is the website. I wanted it more to be focused, since it was I wanted to be more focused right now on just the content and trying to get the idea out rather than like the full-fledged design of it. And another reason why it's not like fully designed out is because I could not settle on a WordPress theme that I liked. So I just wanted it to be like really simple and clean. And it's in the colors of Unified Media Design Studio, red and white, so that ended up working out. So basically, we have the homepage, which is just like your basic social media homepage. It goes through and it has um, just a feed of what people have posted all in one place, so you can just scroll through it and it's there. You can look at it if you and click on thing, go into things further if you want to. If you don't, you don't. If you don't want to, you don't have to. There's also the staff page, which is the members of the different groups. So, for example, here's my page. And it basically it goes in and it's kind of like your Facebook or Twitter or stuff like that. But the one thing that I really wanted to convey with this website is that it's all about the staff, because you can find inspiration everywhere, and we also want staff members also want to be able to inspire each other to do really good work. So that's why within the staff pages, it's more so about who you are as a person and not necessarily as a designer. So I came up with like some like fun things. Obviously, who you are, that because like that really does have to be there. A little bit about yourself, what positions you hold, but that's not the focus of it. And then just like fun facts, like who's your spirit animal? Like, okay, so mine is Leslie Knope, whatever. Like, she's from Parks and Rec. Like, she's funny, she's cool. Kind of pretty much describes my personality. And unless you like really know me, you wouldn't necessarily know that. And then like just fun facts, because the profile page is kind of where I want it people to get to know each other. Because another problem I found as an editor last year is that younger designers were scared and intimidated by people who were in editorial leadership positions. Like, they didn't want to talk to people who were older than them or in a higher position than them, and that kind of like, I think that sort of made them shy away a little from like asking questions, which is totally the opposite of what they should be doing. Like, we want them to be asking questions. So the reason, like the point of this site is to try to get people to open up more so they can talk to each other more in person too, while we're working at the DN or at Ball Bearings and stuff like that. Now, the main focus of the site I want to be is this inspiration page. And it's kind of, it's basically like your, like a status update in a group. And you can post whatever you want, whatever's inspiring you at the current moment, what design trends you're into, where you're trying to draw inspiration from, stuff like that. So there's a couple posts here, and like people, my friend Alex, who's also a designer, she like was talking about how she drew inspiration for a specific story. Like, it's basically like the processes of trying to like find inspiration to actually to tell a story, not just finding inspiration because you think this is cool and you want to try to emulate it. And you can like add links and stuff. It's more so about uploading links and going to check out work and reading more about the work than actually really seeing the work. This website, it's aimed to really just hear why things inspire people and hear why people are passionate about what they want to do in this field. Then, of course, there's the regular, the standard other groups. You can go to inspiration from here, but also the general Unified Media Design Studio group, which is just where quick updates are posted, and people can like and comment things. And then you have separate groups for Ball Bearings and the Daily News, where those publications can publish specific things and quick updates about what's going on and the day-to-day activities and operations for those publications. And then the other cool thing is you can also post like blog. So this is one post that I did on my own personal website, but I posted it on here because it's something that we talked about in one of our design meetings, and I think it really kind of starts to, it's something that I wrote this based off of some stuff I read in a book by Amy Poehler and in an article that Sarah Quinn shared with us in our art direction class this past semester. And it's kind of just talking, the whole point of the article was to say that, like, you have to, like, collaborate with people and you have to, like, try to be inspired by everything around you. You have to go and, like, do work that you're proud of with people you're excited and happy to work with. And I feel like that's been the main problem in the design studio, which is why people are, like, so lacking in passion and lacking in drive and lacking in finding inspiration. So that was really, like, the whole point of me trying to do this website. Definitely some of the strengths of this community are the groups. They're allowing for separation between the publications and then as collaborative spaces between the publications so they can share ideas. It just can be like the quick updates. It's the strengths are in the groups, but especially in the inspiration group, because that's where the people are posting about what really inspires them and what's driving them to be passionate about design and stuff like that. And that's the one really good strength about it. And it's also strong because it has the ability to actually help people act upon things that they see and being like, okay, this is cool. I think I'm finding this kind of interesting. I want to try to do something like this, or like who can I talk to learn how to do this, stuff like that. Most of the opportunities lie within the group and within the inspiration group and within the staff and profile pages. Definitely in the inspiration group, it's allowing for a specific space for them to post specific things about what inspires them design-wise and things like that. And it can range from something they saw on Pinterest or an A1 by the Seattle Times, stuff like that, all the way to, like, I'm drawing design inspiration from this the architecture of this building, or the fun outgoing ideas from this TV show, something like that. If wherever people find inspiration, it's meant for it to be put there. And then since it's all put into one specific space, it opens the floor up for other designers to be inspired by their peers. And if they're being inspired by their peers, that means they're starting to, like, kind of understand who their peers are, like other just designers and their editors are as people as well. And that also ties in with the profile pages, because it's kind of like where you find your inspiration for anything. It says a lot about your personality and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like designed to also help younger designers get to know one another, and the designers who are more seasoned and have been on staff for longer, to get to know one another. And a lot of times it's easier to talk to somebody on a screen than it is face to face. So it's kind of opens up the floor for a conversation between people who might not normally talk to each other, or for the shy little freshman who is too intimidated by the older designers and their editors to talk to them and ask them for help or ideas and stuff like that. But also with those strengths and opportunities, there are some weaknesses and threats. The one weakness is definitely in the design. Like I said, it's fairly simple because I wanted to try to get the idea more across rather than just the design. And like I said, I also couldn't really settle on, like, a WordPress theme, so I thought this more simple the design is, the better, because that way it'll allow for actually trying to get the site to work. A couple of the threats can include One thing we use in the Unified Media Design Studio is Slack, which is another communication platform. And it's almost the same idea because we have separate channels for the Daily News and Ball Bearings. Like the Daily News has their own Slack channel, and within that they have their own chat rooms where you can talk about and discuss like specifically for this project, things like that. And then there's like areas where it's just like, okay, this is the fun chat room where all we do is upload cat gifs, stuff like that. So that's kind of like they're two very similar ideas, and that's kind of a threat because why break the status quo with this very like non-season platform when you can be using Slack, which people everywhere are starting to use, and we've been using it for the past semester, and it's easy to use, and everyone already likes using it. Another threat is other social networking sites, is you can create just set like specific groups on Facebook or boards on Pinterest, or follow different accounts on Instagram and make lists on Twitter that are kind of like the same. I kind of have the same ideas. So that's kind of a threat, but it's also that is also kind of an opportunity because the groups can really only work on Facebook. The boards really only work on Pinterest. Like following certain accounts really only works on Instagram, stuff like that. So like it's this thing, while they're also a threat, it's also this networking community is aimed to kind of put all of those ideas into one place, so you don't have to have like 5 different apps or 5 different tabs open at the same time. Definitely when it comes to further developing the site, it's getting down to the nitty gritty, like the actual design of the site,